Hey everybody, it's Troy. If you've watched any of my past videos, especially the ones in the last week and a half, you know that I'm in search of a new daily driver for my production machine. I tried Nabara, had major issues with Nabara. It might have been me, who knows, but just didn't want to cross that bridge again. Then I took a look at Big Linux, and I thought this is the one I was going to jump to. But then I was like, wait, it's Arch, I'm already on Arch, it's KDE, I'm already on KDE. I need to try something different. So what I did was go with Solus OS. And then if you watched Linux Does Suck Sometimes, you see the issues I had with Solus OS. So I finally landed on a distribution. It's still in a KDE desktop environment, but it is something different. Something I have never used before, and something that I've only covered like once or twice on this channel. And that distribution is Gecko Linux. Now you guys are probably wondering, what is Gecko Linux? Or some of you old heads out there know what Gecko Linux is. Gecko Linux is based on OpenSUSE, which in and of itself is a great operating system. Now one of the reasons I'm not going with OpenSUSE is one of the reasons that I don't go with just a vanilla Arch when I use it. I have so many things going on work-wise. Like this week I'm finishing up 3 different contracts for putting networking systems in, running Ethernet cable. I've got maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours a day to actually put into my YouTube channel, and then I've got to be doing my marketing business on top of that. I need something that's going to be very easy to use and very easy for me to get around in. I don't have a lot of time right now to tinker. So that's one of the reasons I chose Gecko, which is based on OpenSUSE, which is also based on just plain SUSE, which actually just turned 30 years old. That's right, everybody. SUSE has been around since 1992. They're more into the enterprise side of Linux. You can actually go over here and look at free downloads, and everything that SUSE offers is enterprise. You can buy, download, you can test it out, but we're going to get off of that. SUSE has been around forever. They've been a rock stable operating system in the Linux community for enterprise for a long time. So one of the reasons I chose Gecko, like I said earlier, it's a set of Linux spins that is built from the OpenSUSE distribution with a focus on polish and out-of-the-box usability on the desktop. It's available in static, which would be a lot like your Leap, which is just a solid distribution. It's not a rolling. And it comes in a rolling based on OpenSUSE Tumbleweed. And they give you quite a few options here. You can get it in different desktops. Right here is your static versions. You can get a static in Cinnamon, XFCE, GNOME, Plasma, Barebones, LXQT, Budgie, or Mate. And your rolling release you can get on those same desktop environments. Now if you come down here, you do have what's called Gecko Linux Next Editions, which is a stable OpenSUSE Leap base combined with additional OBS repositories to offer the latest version of popular desktop environments. So you get a solid base distribution that's not a rolling release, but then you get the most up-to-date desktop environments. And that's available in the KDE Plasma and in the Pantheon, which is what you're used to seeing with the elementary OS. Now what I'm doing today is I'm kind of giving you all a 50-50. I'm going to stay with KDE because I'm comfortable with that desktop environment, and then go with the Gecko Linux rolling release. Now to download it, you just click on download. It'll open up SourceForge. I know what you all are going to say. SourceForge, it's going to take forever to download. Only took me about 20-25 minutes to download it. And it says thank you for downloading Gecko Linux. I already have it downloaded. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fire it up into a virtual machine so you can kind of see the first steps of the install process. In doing that, I'm able to show it to you on screen, and then I'm going to install it on my hardware, download OBS, and finish the video from there. So what we're going to do is we're going to zip on over to the Gecko Linux desktop right now. And when you download it, boot into it, you're going to come to this screen right here. Now, what I do want to say is if you download this and you take it for a test drive and you do want to use it, please don't forget to take a USB, back up all your pictures, your documents, your downloads, whatever data you want to save and not lose. Make sure you back that up. Now, it did come with a different background. It came with just a green background out of the box. That's what it comes with. Now, I wanted to change it because I do like the OpenSUSE background for some reason. I just like the way it looks. And what you're going to want to do is, first off, before you do anything, Make sure your volume works. Make sure you can turn it up and down. Your microphone, it's showing. Make sure all your hardware works. Make sure if you've got printers, you can get those to run. Make sure that you're not having any problems with your hard drives. Go ahead and go double check. Make sure that they're reading correctly, making sure they say they have the right amount of space and things like that. And once you've done that, you're ready to go. You're ready to actually install it. Now, it uses the Calamares installer. Wait just a second. I'm getting ahead of myself. Another thing you need to do is come down here, and what you're going to want to do is go to software. Let's look up software. And you're going to have the YAST software. You've got the software, software management, and software repositories. I'm going to go ahead and open up the software repositories because I want to show you out of the box exactly what OpenSUSE has in their software repositories. Now, you're going to have Pacman Tumbleweed. Don't get that confused with Pacman on Arch. It's P-A-C-K-M-A-N. Now, it has some of your AUR type packages that you can get on OpenSUSE or Gecko Linux. And just to let you know, I'm going to start calling it Gecko because that's what I'm using. Then you've got your Tumbleweed updates, Tumbleweed OSS. You've got a specific repository if you're somebody that wants to use Google Chrome. NVIDIA, you have the NVIDIA repository, so that way if you're using an NVIDIA video card in your desktop or in your laptop, you can get those drivers to work flawlessly on Gecko Linux. And then you've got Skype Stable. So that's all your repositories. Now, another thing you're going to want to do is come back down here and double check, go to software, and we're going to go ahead and go to software, and we're going to open that up. And there's another thing I need you to do. You have an idea in your mind of what applications you're using. You want to make sure those applications are available on Gecko Linux. So once that updates, it's going to come up, and this is a lot like Synaptic Package Manager. If you're familiar with that, it's just one of those type, search, and find. So one of the things I want to make sure they have is OBS Studio. So we'll go OBS Studio. They do have OBS Studio. Let's see if they've got Kdenlive, which I'm sure they do because it's a KDE. Then you've got GIMP. Let's go ahead and do a search on that. There's GIMP right there. Krita. So you just want to make sure that all the software you're presently using is available on Gecko Linux. Let's see if they got Shotcut. Oh, they do have Shotcut as well. So they seem to have all the software that I might need or may use in the future. So let's go to the Calamares installer. Let's double click on that. And I'm not going to go too in depth on this because most of you are probably familiar with the Calamares installer. And you'll see right here, there are no partitions to install on. That's because I'm in a virtual machine. But this is your base Calamares install. If you've installed Ubuntu, if you've installed Linux Mint, if you installed Manjaro, if you installed pretty much any Linux distro out there other than Fedora because I hate their install program, this is pretty self-explanatory. You go to Welcome, Location, Keyboard, setting up your partitions. All I ever do is just say erase the whole disk and let's start afresh. Some of y'all may do that a little differently. If you do, you can go to their FAQ section and I'm sure they'll explain how to do that. Set up your user info, summary, and then install. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and get this installed on my hardware and then continue the video from inside my fresh install of Gecko Linux. Okay, everybody, downloaded it, installed it. I'm on hardware and no issues at all. Matter of fact, it's probably the fastest install I've ever had with any Linux distro I've ever used. I wanted to say it was Fedora here about 3 or 4 months ago, but this one just blew it out of the water. It took maybe 3.5 minutes, and I'm not using amazing hardware. I'm using an i5 with 8 gigabytes of RAM. Like I said, it's a ThinkPad, but it's installed. The only thing that I have installed is OBS, just so I could record here, and hopefully I've got my settings okay, and hopefully the audio doesn't suck too bad. But once you install it, this is what you're going to be met with. And quite honestly, the only thing I've changed is the wallpaper. Now I do want to go over and take a real quick look at console because I want to see what kind of resources we are using after it is installed. And right now it shows about 1.7 gigabytes being used at rest. So what I'm going to see is see how that goes in conjunction with System Monitor. There is System Monitor, and System Monitor is probably going to show a couple gigs. No, 1.8 gigabytes. Now this is running a little heavier, quite honestly, than Garuda, but what you also got to take into account is that I'm running OBS in the background, which is using right at 600 megs. So if you drop that off, at rest we'll probably be hovering around 1.1, 1.2 gigabytes, which to me is just fine. Now I know there's going to be people out there that just lose their mind. 1.2 gigabytes at rest? Jesus! No, you don't got to worry about it here. So what we're going to do now is I've got OBS set up. So what do we got to do to install applications? What are we going to do here? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zip on over and we're going to look up software. Oh, okay, timeout. No, I've got to change this up. I don't like the little menu. So let's go ahead and show alternatives. Application launcher. I think I want to go with the big one. Why not? So that way it's easy for y'all to see. So we'll open that up. So we'll go to the YAS Software Center. And I actually want to go ahead and click on that. I need to pin that down here. Let's go ahead and put in our password. And we need to go ahead and get some applications. And it refreshed itself right off the bat. So I'm going to go ahead and see if they've got GIMP, which we know they do because we did a search on it a while ago. So I'm going to go ahead and check on GIMP. And then I'm going to go with Kdenlive. Let's go ahead and do a search. There's Kdenlive. I want to see if they have ClipGrab too, because I use that sometimes if I have some issues with some of my YouTube videos. So let's go ahead and click that for install. I know I'm forgetting something. Boxes. Does it have boxes? It does have GNOME boxes. Okay, so I'll go ahead and click on boxes. And let's accept. So I guess this is everything that's going to install. So let's go ahead and continue. And let's see how long this might take. And I'm hoping I saved all those selections. I hope I didn't need to accept every single one. Knowing me, I probably messed something up there. But it's showing you right here, it's 279.4 megabytes that it needs to download. Now, while we're doing that, let's go ahead and minimize this. I want to go ahead and zip on over to settings, and I want to go down to about this system. As you can see right here, Lenovo IdeaPad. I don't know why it's showing IdeaPad, because I do have the little knob. It is a ThinkPad. But anyway, I'm running 8 gigabytes of RAM. We're running KDE Plasma 5.25.4. And kernel version is 5.19.1-1 default. So it's not a spiced up kernel. It's not a ZanMod kernel. It's not the Zen kernel. It is your default Linux kernel. And let's go ahead and zip on up here to appearance. I want to go ahead and probably, let's see, back up. Okay, why is it not giving me, does it not give me the dark mode option? Right, yeah, it does. I guess I just overlooked it, everybody. Okay, we switched it over to a dark mode. I like that much better. Let's go ahead and close that. Let's come down here. We still got a little ways to go. Let's open this up. Let's see, you've got out of the box, you've got Arc, Clementine, Kate, graphics, you've got Gwenview, Color Paint, LibreOffice, Ocular, KTorrent instead of Qubit Torrent, Thunderbird for your mail. I'll probably get rid of that. Clementine, OBS, VLC. You have LibreOffice out of the box. Settings, system settings, YAST, system. Now I want to show you guys YAST. Let's get into YAST a little bit, because I think if you've never used Gecko Linux or OpenSUSE, as that matter of fact, that you need to understand what YAST is. YAST is like your control center. It's like where you go to take care of a bunch of different issues, whether it be file system snapshots, displaying the system's log. You can go down here to hardware, system, network services. You got media check right here. You can verify CD and DVD media integrity. Your software management, which is what's running in the background right now, downloading our applications. And it shows right here, remaining 23 megabytes of 279. And then you got your software repositories, which we saw just briefly at the beginning of this video. And then you've got your bootloader, services manager, system config, Samba, host name. So your YAST control center is pretty much going to be where you go when you want to take care of your file snapshots, adjust network settings, software repositories. If you want to go in and download Google or something like that, I believe you should be able just to go into the software manager and put Google Chrome in, and it automatically pop up because it's already part of the repositories, but this is just somewhere you can go to take care of all those issues should you have them. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that and see where our status is right here. And remaining 1.084 gigabytes. Now, what it's doing right here is it's actually doing a complete update of our system on top of what we were already installing, which is definitely needed. Because when I first started up, it said that I needed an update, but I didn't need to do it at that point, and I just skipped over it. So we will go ahead and minimize back down here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and open up Firefox. And what's really nice is when Firefox first opens up, OpenSUSE search is what you have on your Firefox page, and it looks like it's powered by DuckDuckGo. So we could do something like eBuzz Central, and it doesn't look like it has any ad blockers or anything up here. So if you wanted to add those, you could, especially if you're used to Firefox. You know how easy that is. But I like that. It's got it set up right there off the bat. Now, one thing I do like to do on all my systems, let's go to more tools, customize toolbar. I want to get rid of the title bar. I don't like title bars. I don't know why. I just think they're a waste of space. Then I want to come up here and go ahead and put a home button in there. Click on that, click on home, and it will take me back to that search. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to pop down here and see where we're at. We've only got 500 and, oh, it's almost done. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of Firefox because we're getting close there. And date and time, that's pretty nice. Guys, I'm pretty impressed so far. It's pretty snappy. It's pretty quick. OBS installed pretty easily. And hopefully this software right here will install easily and obviously work without any issues. Let's go ahead and take a look at Dolphin. Let's go ahead and open the Dolphin file manager up. All right, it pops up. And a couple things I want to do here real quick. I want to go ahead. I don't need my network showing. I can hide that until I need it. Recent files, let's go ahead and hide that. I don't need to do a search for. And then I want to make those a little bigger. Large. Okay, so they switched to large. Let's go ahead and close out of that. And installed packages 155. Let's finish. Now I should be able to go over here and type in Kdenlive, and it's right there. So what I'm going to do is right click it, pin it to my task manager, and then I want to look for, let's look for GIMP. There's GIMP right there. Let's go ahead and pin that to the task manager. Now let's make sure that GIMP and everything opens up flawlessly. Let's go ahead and click on that. And it opened right up. That actually opened for a first start on a new install. That was rather quick. Let's go ahead and close out of that and Kdenlive. I don't use a lot of effects. I just basically cut it and roll it and we're good to go. Let's make sure we can adjust that. Okay. So Kdenlive definitely is on there. So guys, that was just a quick look at my new daily driver for my production machine, Gecko Linux. I'm impressed with it so far. It installed rather quickly. Getting my software downloaded went really smooth. And getting OBS set up so I could continue this video went really smooth. A night and day difference from my experience with Solus OS a couple days ago. So if Gecko Linux is something you might give a shot to, or maybe you're somebody that's already using OpenSUSE or Gecko Linux, if you've got any input at all about this video, please drop that in the comments below. Do me a big favor before you leave today. Please like, subscribe, or follow my channel. Doesn't cost anything, and if you end up not liking me, you can always unsubscribe. If you like the channel and enjoy the content that we're producing, you can support us by becoming a member to the channel, buying us a cup of coffee, throwing us a donation on PayPal, or zipping on over to Patreon and becoming a patron to the channel. Those links will be in the description below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching my video, and I will see you in the next video.